Has any of you ever studied any psychology? My major at the bachelor's was special needs education. And in special needs education, we learn psychology. And something that is taught in psychology is nature and nurture. So nature are the things that you're born with. Let's say your parents, your grandparents, those are the things that are inside of you. And nurture is the environment, like those things the places where you grew up, the things that shaped you in the environment, the things that you saw, and where you study. The country, the school, it's extremely important because those are your formative years. Those are the things that it's going to shape how you believe, it's going to shape how you think, it's going to shape the friends that you make. And these are friends, mostly the friends that we have in school, right? These are friends that we keep for life. So it's going to shape the friends that you have. And you know what they always say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. So choosing the country where you want to go study and the university that you want to go study at is something that you really need to be strategic in it. Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Dr. Sil, your imaginary big sister that has gotten 4 fully funded scholarships and now wants to hold your hand and guide you in the study abroad journey. So if you are thinking about studying abroad, you are in the right place. So this is part 2 in a 5-part series, and in this video we are answering 2 questions. In 2023, where do you want to study? What country? Do you have a name? Do you have it? Do you have it? Well, we are going to plan for it. If you have it already, you can start telling me in the comment section. And also, what university do you want to study at? So we are going to plan for 2 things: where you want to study and what university you want to study at. Okay, so in thinking about our vision boards and the study abroad destination and the study abroad university, these 2 are kind of tied together, right? Because it's like where you want to study university is located in the destination where you want to study. So it's like almost it's the same thing. It's just that it can be now in different parts of the country, but it's the same country. So now, because it's a vision board, we want to let our imaginations run wild, right? You want to, of course, you have to do your background research and make sure that it's a good fit for you, the country and everything. But also, once you find those, after you found those places that you want to study, that makes sense to you, then now you're thinking about putting it on the vision board. Remember, in the journal, you read that it is a vision board is a visual representation of things that you want to have and things that also motivate you. Remember, you're walking through this over a 1-year period. You want pictures that when you look at it, you're like, I really want to go to this country. Oh, I really want to go to this university, right? So you want your imagination to run wild that much. So you need things that really motivate you. So I'm going to use 2 apps. I'm going to use Pinterest and I'm going to use Canva. I'm using Pinterest and Canva because they are free. You don't have to pay for anything. You just have to download those 2 apps on your phone, iPad or whatever. Here I'm using my iPad. So let's go to Pinterest. And where do you want to study? Where? Give me answers. Where do you want to study? I hear you saying Australia. I can hear y'all saying Australia. So now let's look for pictures of Australia. And when you do it, don't be basic with it. Look for Australia aesthetic. That way you have this mind-blowing pictures that you're like, oh, this looks so good. So I'm just going to look through pictures. You can see, oh, Sydney. No, oh, you see kangaroo land. The first thing you see a kangaroo. So let me see. Okay, I'm going to pick up this picture. I like it. This is actually Melbourne, Victoria. Wow. You tap the 3 dots and then download image. Okay, you tap the 3 dots and then you download image. So I'm going to do that for other parts of Australia. Alright, Australia is done. Now let's think about the next place. Where else do we want to go? Where else? Remember, in the journal you have the option of 4 countries, right? You have 4 countries. Let's look for Japan. Japan aesthetic, because why not? Who doesn't love Japan, right? So you see, we are welcomed by the picture of Mount Fuji. How nice is that? Okay, download image, and then let's see Japan. Oh, this is a nice picture. Download image. All right, very good. So we have that. We have those pictures done. Now that I'm done with the pictures, I'm going to head over to Canva and I'm going to do a collage of them. Okay. All right. Let's see. This is nicer. All right. Okay, this is nicer. So I'm going to download this. I'm going to just let it download. And what I'm going to do is, if for example, if you're at home using something like this for your vision board, remember, yes, I want you all to buy the 2023 study abroad vision boards, planners, and a journal. But the thing is that not everyone can afford it. And if you can't afford it, you can use something like this to make your vision board. Okay, so if you're using something like this, you can now just go download the pictures. I've downloaded the pictures. You can now go to a local printing place, print those pictures, and then you're now going to cut them out, and then you will arrange it on this particular vision board that you're creating. And then you can now have those countries and the study abroad universities on those vision boards. Now we are going to take some time to do some brainstorming about what university do you want to study at. Let's say you've gone through your process, you're like, okay, this country is a good country. Then there is the question of what university in that country. I'm sure if we are to put list of countries and how many universities are in each country, it goes to thousands, right? So there are thousands of universities in this particular country that this is my perfect country, but now what university in this perfect country? So on the the study of the 2023 study abroad vision board, planners, and a journal, there is a section there, you're going to see this on your screen, where we are talking about, we are brainstorming about university. And I want you to do this by yourself because this is a research that you have to do on your own. The first thing that you're figuring out is, why is this university? It's good to know why this university, and you can have tons of reasons why. For example, I gave you all a prompt here, like a hint here, like it has a great ranking, and having a great ranking is it's an amazing reason to be choosing a particular university, right? Let's say you choose that you want to go study in Australia or in Japan, and you choose Tokyo University. Okay, Tokyo University is the highest ranked university in Japan, right? Or if you say that you're going to study in the USA and you choose Harvard or Yale or any of the Ivy League university, it has a great ranking, right? So that is one reason that you can choose to go study in a university. Another one can be low cost of tuition. That can be a reason why you choose a university. You look at all of the universities and okay, too expensive, too expensive, too expensive. Okay, I'm going to settle with this one because it has a low cost of tuition. So you have to answer the question of why this university, and you're going to see the space here where, as you think, I want you all to, like, everyone has a phone, so I made it in a way where you can type it out, so you can say, all right, it has a great ranking. Okay, that works, right? And then you can now put in more reasons. Don't have just one reason, put in more reasons there. And then the next thing that you want to figure out is, all right, I now know, okay, there's a reason, this university, but what department do you want to study? This depends on your major, right? Let's say you are an engineering student, or you are a computer science student, or you are a sociology student. The department at this particular university, how is the sociology department? How is the public policy department? You want to study public policy. What is it? I gave you all the prompts. I'm going to increase the prompt here just that in case anybody is getting lost. It has great professors in my field. That is an amazing reason for you to choose a particular department in a university. Or maybe this department has great labs and they do a lot of research on a topic that I am interested in. Okay, that is good. So you want to join this department to be a part of that lab, right? For example, there are some universities in Germany that are amazing for engineering students. There are some universities in Japan that are amazing for AI and artificial intelligence and robotics students. So you see how the country is changing based on what you want to study. And also when you come to the country, now you think about the university. Tsukuba University has an amazing artificial intelligence department. But if you want to study something like public health, Tokyo University has an amazing public health department. That is why you have to do this brainstorming and do this research and start figuring out why this department, okay? And of course, you can fill it up as much as you can. And then the next thing that you're trying to think about is, all right, there is a university, check. There is a department, check. If you are a master's student or a PhD student, you will have to have professors that you're working with, your supervisor, right? Now you start looking at, you go to the department website and you're looking at all the faculty. And you're looking at each of them like, okay, who will be a good fit for me in terms of being my supervisor? Then you look at this professor, you're like, okay, he has published many papers in a topic that I'm interested in studying. Oh, that's nice. And do you know one thing that I wish that we can have? Especially for international students, I would wish in my dream world there is a place where students can rank their professors or like write reviews about their professors, because this is something that it cannot be helped. You all will just have to deal with it. If you go to a university, yes, the professor may have published tons of papers in your field, so you're interested in working with this professor. But what can happen is that you can find a professor that does not have the emotional intelligence of being there for you as a student and being able to guide you and hold your hand in this studying that you're doing at their department. There are some professors that are really hands-on. They want you to succeed. They want, okay, can you go for this conference? Can you go for that conference? Oh, there is this thing. Can you apply? You see a professor that is invested in their students. And then some other ones, you see a professor that is just like, you figure it out. You will figure it out. So there is no way to know that. Yeah, the professor may have good publications in your field, but what if that person is a shitty person? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Okay, so the next important thing in figuring out the university that you want to study at is the funding. Funding is extremely important because this is how you're going to pay for it. And you know that most times international students have to pay either double or thrice what the local students have to pay in any university. So it's important to figure out the funding. What does this university offer in terms of funding for international students? So here now we're figuring out funding. And the first place that you have to go is to look at the International Student Office. Most times they are going to give you information on probably what are the funding options in that university. So if you go there, they should be able to give you information. But of course, you're checking online. So you check about like where is the office, or you can go to the place that says international students, and then you figure out international students, and then you look for financial aid. So when you're able to figure out, like you read through on the website and everything, and you see the kinds of aid that is available, one of the things that you can see is tuition waivers. So sometimes these tuition waivers can come, they can be like maybe 50%, maybe 80%, maybe 100%. So just imagine if you get tuition waiver 100%, you don't have to pay for anything. The only thing that you now have to figure out is your accommodation, flying to the country. So this is amazing, right? And then the other place that so many students miss to check up is the department funding. So research as you're doing this brainstorming process. Research if the department you're going to, if it has any funding. And also the professor's funding. If you choose a particular professor, you've looked through and you're like, okay, I like this professor, then you can reach out and ask the professor if he or she has any funding. And sometimes the professor can say, okay, I have some money, and this can help towards maybe your tuition, maybe towards 50%, 80%, maybe 100% of, you do not know. Or maybe the department may have different funding. And of course, there is always the option for external scholarships, right? External scholarships, you may have it. So you see now that these are the options that you have in terms of funding. You have the external scholarships, you have the tuition waivers, you have the department funding, and you have the professor funding. And then now you because most times these external fundings are always extremely competitive, but when you start going down through these details, you see that, oh, maybe it's not as competitive because, for example, department funding, it's like how many people are applying to that department? People may be applying to the university, but how many are applying to this department? Then it goes right down again. How many people are applying to this professor? So if we are to represent this when you're doing your research about funding, you have to think about it from the perspective of like an inverted triangle, okay? an inverted triangle. So you have here, oh, this, I hope this, okay. So an inverted triangle where you have here the external scholarships, extremely competitive, and then you have the tuition waivers, which is usually given by the university. So all students applying to that university are applying for these tuition waivers, kind of competitive but not that much. And then you have the department funding. So even if some students are applying to the university, it doesn't mean that they are applying to your department, right? So a bit less competitive. And then you have your professors funding, which is, okay, students are applying to this department but not to this particular professor. So when you look at it from this way, you see that if you're strategizing, think about the professor's funding, then you think about the department funding, then you think about the university tuition options that they have, then the external scholarships. And this is where 70% of students spend their time. They do not spend a lot of time on this other part, which is 30%. So think about it when you're figuring out funding, and as you use the journals, do this research. This professor, what does he have? Department, what do they have? University, what tuitions do they have? Before you go to the external funding. So as you're doing this research, start from here and go up. Start from here and go up. Spend a lot of your time here. Before you start going up, because it becomes less competitive, okay? You cannot get to this point of planning without a clear idea of what you want to do with your life. What is the vision that you have for yourself? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? By the end of the year, what goals do you want to achieve? How do you break it down into months and just daily tasks, and how do you work towards it? In this video, I show you where to start, and that is starting with the vision board, because it helps you plan out where you want to be. So do well to check it out. I'm going to see you all in the next one. Cheers.